Welcome to the Twin Cities Business Show. Today, we are talking to Juan Linares. Juan is a co founder of Mercado Central. Mercado Central is a jewel of East Lake Street. It's a market, it's a hub for immigrant owned businesses, and it's a whole lot more. They have a big funding gap that relates back to Operation Metro Surge, so we're helping them out with the GoFundMe, which you can find right below in the episode description. Hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to the Twin Cities Business Show. I'm Charlie Ryback. This week we have with us one of the co-founders of Mercado Central, Juan Linares. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So just to ground everybody in this, can you tell us a little bit about what Mercado Central is today?
Well, Mercado Central, that's a good question. Today is a landmark that started almost 27 years ago. And it was an effort and an answer to an immigrant population that came to settle in the cities. So right now, the Mercado Central houses 40 families, and these 40 families are the ones that come every day to the Mercado. And it's a unique concept, a unique model, because most of the business owners in the first floor, which is the retail part of the Mercado, are the ones who are very monolingual. So when you go there, all you listen is Spanish. So this incidents or this last incidents that we had put a really bad taste in our day-to-day life. And basically, we find ourselves in unfamiliar territories, not knowing what to do. But the reaction and the response from the community and the neighbors was amazing.
Yeah.
So therefore, thank you to that. We still continue to be in a landmark, in a cultural corridor, which is basically Bloom Lake, the crossing. And that, I think it's important because it helped the transformation of the investment that left in the 60s.
Yeah.
So that is remarkable, and it's something to be proud of. And I'm glad we were invited to be part of this transformation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if I could just ground us a little bit, we're sitting here in March. We faced this massive federal surge that targeted the area in particular, December, January, February in particular. Um, and I just want to walk people through a little bit of what Lake Street is. Lake Street is really the heart of Minneapolis, and it's been the home to immigrant populations going back, 100 years. Inga Bretsons is a sort of a legacy of when the Scandinavian immigrants were there.
Yes.
And, now it looks a bit different, but that's really what Lake Street, especially East Lake Street, has been. Can you just tell people a little bit who aren't that familiar with what is Lake Street in Minneapolis and what does it represent?
Basically, it's the commercial corridor of the cities because it starts from the lakes all the way to the river, and has been a place for small business to become part of the economic engine of the Lake Street. There's an organization that has helped the Lake Street Council, which is the organization that through them we have had support to become more part of a economic development of the Lake Street, and particularly Bloomington and Lake, which was in late, I would say, 80s, 90s. There was an outcry for changing the look of Lake Street. In that corner was a drugstore, a bank, a gun shop, and what was it, the business? Where we are right now, the business that where the Mercado is, the building where the Mercado is, it used to be an electronic business. And that building is three in one. So it became one building, and it used to be three shops, um, a hip hop shop in the middle, and an Asian restaurant at the end of by the alley.
Okay.
And in the corner was this electronics place where, there was not a good place to be around or to walk around. So the pressure was put by those businesses, the pharmacy and the bank, to the city council. So they decided to close the gun shop. They took the license away, and that's when they began to transform and invite us to be part of that. Julie, actually, Julie Ingebrigtsen, was one of the um, club business owners of the crossing, which was instigating the whole process of, let's change this. We had it. We just about to become, another place where we will not even be able to open our business.
Yeah.
We don't take action.
Right.
So that was important.
Yeah. So, just a reminder, in the description of the episode, there's a GoFundMe link where you can support Mercado Central. They're trying to raise $500,000. Go down, click it, whatever platform you're on. Support them. I would highly encourage it. So, let's come back to this. So there's this wave of disinvestment, 60s, 70s, 80s. So you're sitting there in the 90s saying things need to change. What role are you playing? What are you doing at the time? And how do we get from there to Mercado Central actually launching?
It was, thank you for the question. It was very, for me, it was important for me to be part of this transformation, this change, because it was the response of uh, large immigrant population that started coming in the early 90s
Immigrant populations from where?
from all over the place, from, I would say, basically from Mexico all the way down.
Okay.
Mexico, Central America, South America, and also second migration from Chicago, from LA, Texas. And I was lucky enough to be part of that movement when we started a faith based community where people feel very comfortable and safe. So, due to that, we organized a base and the leadership that became the um, the actors, basically, that wanted to change their lives. And the reason why they came here was because they wanted to find a better way to respond or to keep their families together, and basically to change their lifestyle and to better themselves. So that was an important time because I believe in the 80s, it was the first amnesty.
Mm. With
And due
Reagan,
to,
right?
right,
Yeah.
right. So that created a very important boost to become legalized because that was one of the priorities. Most of the immigrant populations wanted to do, basically.
Yeah. So there are a lot of people that were already here who then received legal status, were able to participate in the system and society a bit
Yep,
more. Yeah.
yep. And basically, what they want was to have access to education,
Hmm.
to have access to legalization, and to have access to capital. So those three important priorities were part of my interests that I began to see how can we organize around those factors?
Yeah.
How can we organize around and organize a base to become the the main base for this economic development and create a sustainable economy for their families, themselves, their families, and the community.
So why was the Mercado the solution to those problems? And how did that come together?
That's a good question. But I'm sorry, I laugh because, um, everybody wanted to have a storefront,
Yeah.
right?
Everybody wants their own small
On
business.
Lake Street.
Yep.
And Fourth and Lake was the place
Hmm.
where the Latinos met because there used to be a grocery store right on the corner of Fourth and Lake and a restaurant of a family that, the Reyes family,
Okay.
who opened a restaurant called Me Gusta.
Me gusta.
And a Guatemalan guy was the owner of the grocery store. So the community, the faith-based community, after the services on Sundays, they used to go to those places to
Hmm.
buy groceries and to have lunch.
Yeah.
So therefore, they said, "Well, this is the place where we need to be.
Hmm.
So what if I open a business here, and I can be part of this equation?" So um, when they start asking the question, where can we, or how can we, or can you point us out to who can we talk? Where can we get some loans, some money,
Yeah.
and how can we do this? So it was an important question for me to how can we do this?
Yeah.
It was not like oh yeah, let's just do it,
Hmm.
because it was not like that. It was just it, having barriers like not speaking the language, not knowing how to run a business in this city, and all the rules and regulations that the city has. I couldn't even say, well, just go there and go here.
Right.
No, I said, well, let's just pause for a moment. Let's talk about this, and let's see what do you see happen? How do you see yourself in that corner? So that was the first question that we posed to these folks after, responding to these three priorities.
Yeah.
So we said, well, okay, if you need access to education, well, we have to bring someone else to the table because who else needs to be in this conversation? So the partners, the economic development partners, the nonprofits, they were the ones that we thought about and said, well, we need to have these folks at the table because NDC was providing some trainings in West St. Paul to a group of Latina entrepreneurs
And
who,
NDC is.
Neighborhood Development Center, who started the trainings in Spanish. So when we heard that, we said, that's perfect because that's we can implement here. So we invited them to the table. They were so pleased to be part of this. And they said, yes, let's do it. So that's how we started the whole process of trainings. And the legalization piece, we're still dealing with that.
Hmm.
That hasn't been resolved.
Yeah.
And I don't think it will be for a long time. But the access to capital and the trainings have become a very key component of this, uh, the three pronged,
Hmm.
organizing a base, organizing the leadership, take him to see a vision and develop a vision. So they literally talk about, mercados, because where we came from, we grew up going to mercados.
Yeah.
And Mercado Central became that dream. So now, when we had this occupation that you were talking about,
Yeah.
then the Mercado saw themselves, the leadership of the Mercado, start thinking we should close because the Latinos weren't coming.
Hmm.
So therefore, not everybody wanted to close.
Yeah.
So they said the board of directors, because it's a co-op, the structure is a cooperative, and the board of directors says, well, let's think about this. What if we do only a partial closing? And partial closing meant, well, the businesses that could be there and would respond to any, questions from the ICE or,
Hmm.
immigration. So that's what they decided to do.
Yeah.
And then after that, a week later, we said, well, let's see how can we continue supporting this, because keeping the Mercado open, it was not going to be easy with not having rent
Yeah.
payments, we're not having anything. So we decided to create the GoFundMe.
Yeah. Which, by the way, is in the description if you want to go support it right now. Um, Take me through a little bit of what your life was like in December and January and February in Minneapolis.
It was chaos. Um, it was, you know, not really a human event to see people hiding and not going out anywhere. Even in our faith-based community, the assistance went down to probably 10%.
Even to church.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, where every Sunday you didn't have a place to sit down, then suddenly the pews were empty. And that was also the reaction and uh, what happened at the Mercado. Because most folks, like I said, after the services, they went to the places where they can bring their families, have lunch, and do some shopping. So that was hard. It was frightening, and people were afraid and not trusting anyone or anything. For me, it was really hard because I still needed to be there,
Yeah.
just to make sure that the place was running, at least the lights and the electricity and everything. So it was not easy. It was really hard to see the empty building. Um, yeah, it was not. It was not pretty. It
Yeah.
was hard. It still is. Now we're coming back thanks to the support of the GoFundMe and the entire community. Now we have groups that come every weekend. Uh, in fact, we have senior citizens that come and support the Mercado, faith-based communities. Um, so it's been an incredible change and transformation. Now we found a new market,
Yeah.
and the new market for us right now is people like you. When you turn around and you see only people that are the care for the Mercado and want to support the Mercado because it's been an incredible landmark and a good place to gather, a place of community and a place of destination. Um, so that was important to see and to feel the support from the community. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I love that, and that eased up a little bit the sadness of not seeing Latino families and kids running around, but it is what it is. But it's just beginning to, now that the reduction of the presence of these federal agents, I think it's still not. Um, I don't think people are convinced yet,
Yeah. That things are like they were.
right?
Yeah.
And by the way, the second floor is services, and we have services in the second floor, and basically those folks were the ones that were open, but the retail uh, part of the Mercado was the one suffered the most,
Yeah.
which is what supports the Mercado.
Mhm. Um, I visited in January. The door was locked. There was someone standing guard out front. Can you take us through what really a typical day looked like during that period of time? And you explained some of the fear and stuff, but just the precautions that you guys had to put in place to try to keep everybody as safe as possible.
Yes, it was hard. It was hard to um, lock all the doors because yes, some federal agents were trying to get in um, with no questions asked. They're just trying to get in.
No warrant,
No,
just
nothing.
yeah,
It was just like, and when they came to the doors, we have monitors helping us and guarding the doors.
People, literally people
People,
standing out front. Yeah.
yeah, volunteers of the community, nonprofits, um, and I want to mention Unidos because Unidos was the orchestrator of all this through organizing other nonprofits, which for us was very important to have their support, and it showed. So when they said, we have to really make sure that everybody's going to be safe and everybody is understanding what are we under, that we need to have some legal counsel.
Yeah.
And let's tell that to folks that we have legal counsel. There's nothing to be afraid of. We have to understand that this is a private place. We own this place. So if you want to come in, or if you are looking for someone, you need to show us who are you looking for. And it has to be a federal document that is
Yeah.
signed by a judge.
Right.
So, and we reserve the right to say no.
Hmm.
We said no, thank you. If you're not coming to, well, I want to come to have lunch. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
we're not going to let you in.
What moment of that was the hardest for you? Do you remember a particular moment?
Yes, and it's important to. I just want to mention this because this man who came for therapy, we have a chiropractor practice, a doctor who does um, the service in the second floor. This man had an accident, a work accident, and he was taking some um, recommendations to become healthy. So he came to a session, and when he was leaving, he saw uh, the ICE patrol driving by. Then he turned around and started running towards the Mercado. When those guys saw the guy running towards the Mercado, they turned around and they got out of the car and started running right after him. So our security person opened the door because he saw him leave. So he opened the door again. He says, well, maybe he's coming back to something else. So he opened the door for him and then closed the door, and the guy just went in. Then after that, the agents came and tried to come in. So our security guy just stepped out and said, can I help you? And he says, did you see a man running here? And he says, no, I haven't seen anyone. So they gave him this look like, are you telling us the truth? Or, you know, he says, no. So he says, okay, with this sarcastic look and smile. He says, well, we'll be back. So that was something that for me, it was a threat
Yeah.
that I didn't know how to take it at that time.
Hmm.
And I decided not to do anything about that. I just decided just to let go and stay present and focus on what we needed to respond or to, you know, stay uh, strong
Right.
and not give up.
Yeah. I think one thing that is difficult for people on the outside to see is just how large the economic cost from this whole thing has been and is going to be. Do you have a way to even quantify the drop in sales? Because you guys are trying to run a business, you have rents that people are supposed to pay. Do you have a way to even quantify the hit that the business took?
Hmm. Well, 85% of our sales went down.
85.
85% in the month of January.
So that would basically take out any business.
That's why the leadership decided to close,
Yeah.
and they decided to close partially because we still needed to have the doors open for the rest of the community, the
Right.
rest of the population. And that's how we sort of like survive a little bit. Um, but it was really a hit in our economic, sustainable way to support the doors open at the Mercado.
Yeah.
Um, Due to this occupation, I think the city reported that probably $46 million were lost on a weekly basis. Now, if you take it into our Mercado, when it takes about $46,000 to keep the doors open on a monthly basis.
$46,000.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, we couldn't even begin to figure out how are we going to pay taxes
Yeah.
because this is a tax season.
Right.
So we resource to and probably ask our commissioners, our Hennepin County commissioner, to have a conversation with us and listen to our dilemma and our situation and uh, have an extension. Because I don't think, Charlie, we're gonna next month we're gonna be okay, or in 2 months or 3 months. I think it's gonna take probably the rest of the year
Yeah.
and probably even more to come back.
Yeah.
Because we experienced COVID, we experienced Floyd, and now we experience this. So these three hits, and this has been the worst.
Yeah. Of all of them.
So, yes, of all of them. So, and we're very grateful for DEED, Department of Employment and Economic
At the state.
Development,
Yeah.
to come out and support not just Lake Street, but also uh, the metropolitan
Hmm.
cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. I was just at a meeting that the governor invited us to all these small businesses to a conversation, and they were asking us how we feel and how we're doing. So basically, we told them, and the commissioner of deed was present virtually and said that they were going to do everything possible to support, um, yeah, this economic uh, important part of our cities,
Yeah.
and especially commercial corridors like Lake Street, University Avenue, you name it.
Yeah.
So
I,
it's been hard.
yeah. I just want to remind people the GoFundMe is in the episode description. I'm probably going to say it a couple more times, so it may as well take care of it now. Um, I want to go back a little bit and just talk about how the organization started. And I want to talk a little bit about cooperatives. Minnesota has a really rich history of cooperatives. You know, Land O'Lakes is a cooperative. We have all the grocery cooperatives. There are a bunch of agricultural cooperatives. It's a really deep model in the
Mm,
state.
mm,
And I used to work at a cooperative called
mm.
Cooperative Energy Futures. Some people don't understand exactly what that means. It's a cooperative business. Can you talk a little bit about looking at that model, choosing that model, and what that model has meant to the Mercado to be a cooperative during the last 27 years?
It's. I'm gonna try to give you the whole picture.
Yeah.
It was not easy, but it was doable. Um, these 40 families that I mentioned to you that start asking questions about how to open a business.
Hmm.
Um, I had the opportunity to meet some of the partners, like the CDCs, the community developers, and one of the our members of community asked about a building that was on Nicollet Avenue in 28, I
Okay.
believe. So it was an empty building, and this man, his business was to open a tortilla factory. So I went to talk with the CDC, the Whittier CDC, um, and I met a guy by the name John Flory.
Okay.
And he was the one who started the food co-ops, I believe in the 60s,
The grocery stores.
70s.
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't know that. So when I met him, he was doing economic development on Nicollet Avenue. And have you heard Eat Street?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I love Eat Street.
Well, he was part of that, his organization. When I asked him about the building, he says, "Well, what do you want? That building is no good." And I said, "Well, one of our parishioners is asking for it, and he wants to know if that could be available." And he says, "Well, what are you trying to do?" And he's, "We're trying to open a tortilla factory." So I start talking with him, and I invite him to come to one of our meetings. And good enough, he became the other co-founder of the Mercado Co-op.
Wow.
So thanks to him, he explained us, because the way the 40 families were talking about, it was about having the structure of a group of businesses in one
Mhm.
place. So he said, "Well, what about if we give this group an idea of a co-op?" And in Mexico and Latin American countries, we know co-ops.
Yeah.
We understand. We have co-ops. So they said, "Okay, so how do we start?" So what we did is we offered them to buy stocks, to invest in the co-op.
The businesses can invest in the co-op
Correct.
itself.
Yes. And the minimum of 10 stocks, 100 each. So we start with 40 grand, and that's how we leverage 2.5 million, the cost to development of that corner.
Okay, so 40 businesses, each contributing $1,000 each. They
Yep.
get 10 shares of stock. And then how do you tell
They
me how you get
became
to leveraging
members
the 2.5 million?
with the partners with Whittier CDC, Neighborhood Development Center. And then when the business club in Bloom Lake
Mhm.
heard that we were looking for a building they call Project for Pride and Living, who has already done a development on the corner of Franklin and Chicago.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
yeah.
Okay, well, that was a hellhole. It was bad news and drugs and all kinds of things. Well, they transformed that and created a little small mall with 4, 5, 6 shops.
Yeah.
And they had their office across the street, PPL, in the second floor. They owned the building in the corner of Chicago. And it was the north east corner of uh, Chicago and Franklin.
Mhm.
So they were invited to come and to the conversation with Butler Drug, Market Bank, and the city council at that time.
Okay.
So PPL was invited to develop this and to buy the building. So they relocate those businesses that were there,
Mhm.
the ones that I mentioned, they relocate them. And guess how much they pay for the building?
How much?
200 grand.
Wow.
What a deal.
I know.
At any rate. So they send their project manager to talk to us.
Mhm.
He says, "Okay, we heard that you guys are looking for a building." We said, "Yes, we are." So my employer, Player for Private Living, wants you to consider this real estate, this corner, and we'll develop it for you if you become our tenants.
Right at Bloomington and Lake.
Correct. The southwest corner of Bloom Lake, where the Mercado is.
Mhm.
So the leadership just said, "Yes, thank you. We'll consider that with one option, that we will have the first right of refusal. In other words, we think that in 10 years we can buy you out.
Mm.
Pretty gutsy
Yeah.
way, way to act. But at any rate, they had faith and they thought that we could do it. And that dream became a reality in 2019, where those partners formed the LLC, which was PPL, Neighborhood Development Center, Whittier Community Development, and the Mercado, four owners to make this deal go through.
In 2019.
In 2019, we bought them out. In 2019, when when we signed the lease,
Hmm.
well, when I say we, I mean the leadership of the Mercado,
Yeah.
signed the lease with that clause, the first right of refusal. It was in 1999. Well, a few months before.
Yeah.
And that in 10 years, we were going to buy them out, buy the partners out. So the partners, the nonprofits, helped us to raise the money and have the Mercado to become the owner of the real estate.
Hmm.
And that happened in 2019, before COVID.
Yeah.
So in 2019, symbolically, we give them each $1.
Okay.
So the title of property now is Mercado Central Inc., Co-op Mercado Central Inc., which right now the dream
Yeah.
became a reality. And that's why it's important for us, and was very important for us to keep the Mercado alive, keep the Mercado open,
Right.
keep the Mercado being part of the landmark that still is
Hmm.
and represent commerce, a place of destination, to be part of the economic engine of the city and the county and the state, because we do uh, are contributors of the whole economy. So therefore, uh, there is an investment that we need to protect.
Yeah.
And I think that has been the reason why we want to continue to have these 40 families.
Right.
Um, and by the way, the first 40 families, they're gone. We only have 3 of the original 40.
Okay.
We're in the second wave of incubation.
Hmm.
So right now we have 35. And one of the first investors in the Mercado, which is the example that I was telling you about the man who want to open a tortilla factory,
Yeah.
La Perla is called. Those folks, that family owns a building right now on the corner of 27 and 26th Avenue.
Okay.
And they have 3 machines that produce 1,300 tortillas, dozen of tortillas in 1 hour.
In an hour.
In 1 hour.
Wow. That's
You
a
can
lot.
find this product in Cobb, Target, any grocer
I have some in my
store.
fridge right now. I can vouch for them.
Well, I'm glad to tell you that this business in this project make that a reality for this family,
That's really great.
which is cool.
Yeah.
The other one that I just want to share with you is La Loma Tamales, which is right on the corner of the entrance of Bloomington Inlet.
Hmm.
They have an 8x8 little space. 65% of the revenue comes out of that little space
Of the whole Mercado?
of the
Of the
business.
business comes out of the space.
Yes.
Wow.
The first
I've
year.
had them. They are very good. I
Yes.
can tell. That's why.
Well, see, my point is that incubating
Hmm.
has been a response to a way to create and build a sustainable economy that will support the families. And basically, this model can be replicated anywhere.
Yeah.
Anyone can do it.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of how to build relationships, how to create and develop leaders and really meet people where they are.
Hmm.
And being an immigrant and coming to this country, that doesn't mean that we're deficits. We turn that around and look ourselves like assets.
Yeah.
So when you start telling people that doesn't matter where you came from, you have something that makes you giggle, that makes you laugh. What
Hmm.
is it? So that's what they share with us, you know, and we focus on those assets,
Hmm.
not the needs or the deficits. So we turn that minus into a plus.
What are your strengths?
That's
What do you
right.
bring to the table?
Exactly.
um, you alluded to this earlier. Everybody wants to start a business, have a storefront. Why there have been studies that show that immigrants are more entrepreneurial than people that are native born. Why is there this link with immigrants and immigration and wanting to start businesses and wanting to own your own thing? Which is very fundamentally an American trait, but it seems like immigrant communities, it's even more so. Where does that come from, and why does that happen?
That's an interesting question. It is really hard to answer that because each community is different.
Yeah.
Each individual is different. So, in order to really believe in your own trade and your own um, way to promote oneself
Hmm.
and become um, an asset,
Yeah.
then you realize that yes, because a lot of folks don't have the opportunity to go to college or to
Right.
go to school, but that doesn't mean that they're no good.
Yeah.
That means that they were born with a gift, with a talent, and when you uncover those gifts, talents, and abilities to take action, to act on them, then that transformation becomes part of that person, that
Hmm.
being. Because a lot of folks, yeah, you're right. People that come and risk everything, they leave home, they leave families, they leave everything to a place where you don't know what's going to happen. The only
Hmm.
thing that you bring with you is what I just told you.
Yeah. It's the American dream, right?
That's
For
right.
hundreds of years, we've taken everybody who will come, and they make businesses and lives and all sorts of things, and it's kind of beautiful.
And it's important to understand that you come to make a contribution.
Right.
You don't come to take, you
Hmm.
come to give with no expectations of any returns. Because when you talk about, so what's the return on my investment?
Hmm.
Well, we're still looking for that,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
Hmm. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Um, you came here from Mexico City. You landed in Detroit Lakes. How did you end up in Minneapolis?
Well, coming from a small town, Mexico City,
Yeah. Very small town.
well, and going into another small town, it was pretty claustrophobic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I love Minneapolis. Minneapolis was the place where I could see water, and the weather was perfect, even though the winters are not, but I learned how to navigate winters.
Yeah. Got a big coat.
Yes, and that's why I really thought that Minneapolis was a good place for me um, to be and be part of. And what it attracted me about is the sense of hospitality,
Yeah.
the welcoming. The Minnesota Nice is not just another say.
Hmm.
I found it that it was the real way to welcome someone, um, and to be able to be part of um, a community and a system that I didn't know.
Hmm.
It took me a while to understand and to navigate, but it was a great lesson. It was a great experience, um, because I came from a place where you have everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you can find anything and everything. Place that doesn't close,
Right.
and a place that 6 o'clock everything is almost shutting down.
Hmm.
so,
Yeah.
um, I develop a taste for that,
Right.
and I start to liking it, and yeah, and I decided to stay.
That's great. Glad you stayed.
Yes.
If you could tell people how to spend a perfect day at the Mercado, what would you tell them? What to eat, what to buy? Any tips for people who are new and trying to navigate it?
Yes, and for anyone who has been in any other country or any part of Mexico and has experienced mercados, has experienced places like that, I think the Mercado is something like wants to replicate, or at least replicate some of that.
Hmm.
So if you had those experiences when you go in vacation,
Hmm.
for a vacation, or you know spring break, and visit all those places, I think the Mercado represents the same, where you can find really good food and different kinds of food, because we have Mexicans, Salvadorians. Um, we're looking for a Caribbean restaurant
Mm,
pretty soon. And then the shops, the specialty shops, like, we have shops. Well, we have La Piñata, which is a business that sells all kinds of Mexican candy and um, all kinds of uh, nuts and things like that.
mhm.
So that is part of the culture. And there also, you can find your dress for a quinceañera. You can find for a baptism and traditional kinds of celebrations.
Yeah,
I think it's important.
I got some beautiful flowers when I was there in January.
Exactly. The flower shop, the butcher shop, the juice bar, the bakery. I mean, those are basically, what we realize is the food was going to be the hook,
Hmm.
because anyone or anybody loves good taste and
Yeah,
good food. So really the formula and the way we figured out, it really paid off
yeah,
to have a place where, you can come and have a good breakfast, good lunch, or a good takeout for dinner.
yeah. Anything else you'd like to leave people with today?
Just that, keep supporting us, because we believe that the Mercado belongs where it is, and really, um, it's important to have it, and it's worth it. So we would like to continue being part of it and belong where we are and be part of this wonderful community. And now we can call ourselves Minnesotans.
Yes, indeed. We're all better for it.
That's right.
With that, I'm going to leave you with one more reminder. Check out the GoFundMe in the episode description. The Mercado is an amazing place. We want it to be around for as long as possible. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you,
And
Charlie.
just really grateful for you sharing all that with us.
Thank you. And thanks for having me.
Absolutely. That's all we have for today. Big thanks to Keely Doyle, Ali Alt, Mike Novak, Gabe Noah, and Connor O'Neill for all your work behind the scenes. We will see you next time.